Let's talk about visual presentation here. So how are you showing up? What clothes are you wearing? What haircut or hairstyle of your various choices are you using that day? If you have multiple pairs of glasses, which one are you wearing? These sound like really granular choices, but you would have made these choices if you were going to a real life interview. You would have made them if you were going to a real life cup of coffee, a real life training, a real life conference. Virtual is no different. Why we possibly thought that people formed a perception of the people who sat at the table with them at a conference, but didn't form a quick perception of people who were in a breakout room with them, it's no different. If anything, I'm more up close and personal in a breakout room. So think about how you're showing up. Make it easy on yourself. Now, I want to be clear here. I am not suggesting that you go out and have to spend a lot of money. Frankly, for many of us in a job search, that is an untenable thing to do. Look at what you've got. Have a sensible audit of what you've got. Check on the basic things that all of us got a little crazy about during the pandemic. Is that shirt clean? It may have been clean when you put it on this morning. Is it still clean when you are getting on camera? I have had a toothpaste incident earlier today. This is not the first blouse that I was wearing this morning. And I know this because I looked in a mirror. It's not rocket science. So check yourself out dispassionately. Think about your surroundings. Again, those visual cues, but things as simple as tidy up. Why I would believe that you are an organized, efficient professional if your workspace indicates chaos. It's really hard for me to separate those perceptions. I'm not saying you have to tidy your whole house. And I'd love it if you tidied your whole house because I love tidy houses, but I'm not saying you have to tidy your whole house. I'm saying you have to tidy what's in the camera view. I have a friend who figured out they're not a tidy person. It's not part of something that's important to them. They figured out where their camera was and they took blue painter's tape and marked the floor and the walls sort of about 3 inches outside of the camera view. Inside that zone, the whole family knows there's no dishes, there's no clutter, there's no heaps of stuff. That is the perfection zone. Outside of the painter's tape, glory. But inside the painter's tape, you would never know. And people who worked with them in an office would have never known because we can all adapt our behaviors. So, props and cues. The setup here is worthy of a hotel room Amazon interview. But figure things out. Lighting, you don't need to invest in specialist lighting. You do need to have lighting near you. So I have a ring light around the external camera that I use. It cost $48 for the camera and ring light. You do not need hundreds of dollars set up, but it's not quite enough light. So I have a desk lamp from IKEA shining in my face. And because that is annoying, I taped a sheet of paper over the front of the desk light from IKEA because that diffuses the light. I already owned the desk light. I already had paper and tape. It was easy. You have to get creative. Think about those perceptions. Think about the cues around you. When I'm coaching people for a job interview, I would often encourage people to tape things up on the wall behind them. Because when you put it on your desk, what happens is you look down. When it's over there, you're looking up still. It's great. We are multisensory perceivers. That's an odd thing to say when we're on the screen. Because what senses can we use? But we draw conclusions. So think about what assumptions you're making And think about your environment in a multisensory way because it affects how you show up. So if there's distracting noises in my environment, even if I'm on mute, so I'm not distracting you, I'm distracted. I was on a call last week where, I kid you not, so I live in DC and I live in a row house. So outside is like here, an enormous dump truck went down the street, such an enormous dump truck that it set off the alarm on every single car that was parked on the street. I got the giggles. I was on mute, but I ended up putting in the chat, I'm so sorry, sort of the one sentence version of what happened, because I was distracted and I knew people would see that I was distracted and I wanted to respect that. So those multisensory pieces are really important.